All right, guys, welcome back. We're here in Nashville this week, and I'm excited to check out the Mill Ridge course. Let's do it. All right, hole one, they changed up, made it a little bit shorter. We got 280 feet. Almost looks like you can throw up the middle, but my TI zones have gotten beat up, so it's gonna fly good on this straight line up the gut. So we'll do that. See how they can turn a little bit more than I thought, actually. So they're actually a little bit flippier than normal. There we go, that's kind of how they fly, right up the gut. Yeah, you want to get on that kind of top shelf. If you throw it too low, you hit the kind of the rocks and stop at like 28 to 30 feet. But if you throw it high and challenge that ceiling and get through, you can get a park job and get yourself started off with an easy birdie. Dude, the pinch runner, dude, it's like, dude, the ball didn't get through the infield. How do you go home? Like, yeah, I went to the D-backs game, took an off week last week. So I was just sharing the experience with AB since he's from Arizona. He'll appreciate that. But yeah, we got Suarez hit 4 bombs in the last 3 games, so pretty awesome to have Eugenio Suarez. He's a stud, kind of, he's been hitting a lot of home runs lately, so that's been fun to watch. So yeah, I got to go do a D-backs game, spend an off week in Arizona. Definitely feel refreshed, ready for a good week here in Nashville. So this is the top shelf that you're looking to get on. And if you don't, you're kind of stuck down there at 30 feet. So really cool green. If you don't throw a perfect shot with the perfect match to the height of the limbs, you'll hit and drop till 30 feet. But if you throw a good speed, good height control, get yourself a birdie. All right, we got hole 2, 559 feet. This is a gap shot. This is definitely the type of gap in the tournament where it feels like it gets smaller just because your nerves and everything's kicking into gear. But yeah, just kind of trying to work on my form, work on the forehand form just to feel comfortable hitting this gap under pressure. That's the most important thing, well, obviously with these practice rounds, is to throw shots that I can throw in the tournament under pressure. I'm not gonna throw shots that I'm never gonna throw in the tournament. Yeah, it might be fun, but you're not really learning anything. You gotta practice what you're gonna do under pressure, and what you feel comfortable doing under pressure. So yeah, focus on throwing the nice Raptor. These things are awesome. The new Raptor Shield Raptors. So just kind of throw it through the gap, something like that, and fade back right. That's kind of what you want. I'm gonna throw one more. I threw a first one kind of nice, followed the gap, followed the uphill. I wanna throw a little nose up because we are going uphill, so I wanna throw that nose up, and that'll make me follow the angle of the hill. So I did that on purpose. This time I'm gonna throw a little bit more penetrating forward, a little bit more flex. Captain's Raptor, more of a beat up, straight shot. Whoops. So I early released that one. But yeah, we'll go with the first one and see where that puts us. All right, we got the Raptor shot that took us right into the ideal landing zone. So depending on how much I get off the tee pad is gonna depend on whether I go with the zone or a Raptor on the second shot. If it's a headwind and I'm a little bit, let's say 40, 50 feet back, I might upgrade to the Raptor. But for here, I'm just pretty much trying to throw these beat up TI zones straight. You can see the circle's edge left. I definitely want to favor the left-hand side because if you go hyzer out early right, there's a pond and then a bunch of bushes that block your putt. So I'd rather be a little bit left on this up shot. So I'm gonna throw a nice smooth zone shot. That wasn't smooth, that was a little turned over, but the distance was good. I just threw it too far left. I'm gonna try the same shot, start it a little bit more direct. There we go, that's much better. So that's a much better shot, that should be parked. So yeah, that zone, as you can see, if I'm gonna play a Raptor shot, I'm gonna throw a little bit wider, more spiky. So I'll show you kind of what I would do if I was throwing a Raptor on this shot. Something just like that. It's gonna fade, hit the circle's edge, kind of trickle to the basket just like that. So that's about 25 feet. So you can see the difference between if I'm throwing a Raptor versus I'm throwing a zone. The Raptor is gonna be a little more spiky, wide, and that zone's gonna be a little more direct, you know, just playing it just 30 feet left of the basket and fading slightly into the green. So yeah, you're gonna depend on the wind. Obviously gotta critique the shot based on what the wind gives you if we got a headwind, crosswind. But I do know the bunker on this hole is definitely right. Everything wants to filter right, so if you early release it or anything, it's gonna definitely wanna trickle down to that right-hand side. So let's check out the green and show you the slope. Here's the about 25, 30 feet left of the basket, what it looks like. Obviously you don't wanna fade back too far right. As you can see, lots of trees, lots of out of bounds. So you definitely wanna favor this left-hand side to give yourself the most open putt on the hole. So this is the putt you want. Make 3 for 3, Raptor birdie. And then the zone, of course, is parked All right, hole 3, we got 625 foot par 4 uphill. We got a double mando right off the tee. We got an uphill forehand. You can see the tree line on the right-hand side. That forces you to have to throw an ante flex. So you kind of want to just kind of hug this left side tree line, a little bit of an ante. Everything's going to want to hyzer out a little bit more just because you're going uphill. So something like that is exactly what you want. Turn it through the gap. Maybe a little bit too much turn, but should be out into the field. Preferably, that one might be a little bit too much turn, but kind of want to have that angle, that flight, that shape. You just don't want to go too nose up. You'll take you right into the bushes on the right-hand side, but let's go out in the field and throw a second shot. All right, so we hit these trees on the left-hand side. I forced it over a little bit too much, which is okay. It's not the worst mistake to make because you can still throw a shot. I'm gonna throw my second shot with the focus, and I'm really just trying to hit that tree in the middle of the fairway, right in front of the basket. If I can hit that tree, preferably get just past it, but even if I hit it and stop, I'm left at circle's edge. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on this shot. Or go in, that'd be nice too. Oh, that was close. That was a fun shot. So as you can see, you want to get through this gap. Whoops, not drop your bag. Oh, only three discs in the yard sale, not the whole bag. Yeah, so you want to flex through here, kind of get out in this field. Obviously I didn't do that on my first shot, but most of the time when I'm throwing a good shot, it's out in this field. Kind of just allows you to throw an upshot up to the basket. But yeah, forehand flex shots got to be dialed out here this week. Hole 2, hole 3, lots of forehands off the tee. So looking to dial that in and get myself in position for a lot of birdies out here at Mill Ridge. So we didn't throw a perfect drive, but we did throw a perfect upshot. And that focus allows us to tap in the birdie on hole 3. So yeah, don't have to throw a perfect drive to get a birdie out here when you got the focus. All right, we got hole 4 here. We got 720 foot par 4. The OB configuration has changed a little bit. This is my first lap through the course. So I'm gonna throw a couple shots, see where my discs are comparative to the out of bounds that's changed, and then go from there. But for me, we have a little bit of left to right wind, which makes me want to lean on the forehand so that way I can throw it out, flex it, and then let the wind take it kind of around the corner. I like to use this bushy tree on the right-hand side as a reference point. I know that if I throw kind of a flex forehand just past that and hyzer to the right, then it's going to leave me in a good position. So I'm going to throw my Z-force, a little flex, rely on this crosswind to kind of help carry it to that right-hand side. That's something I like that spot. I think that's going to be good. We'll see. Maybe a little short. It should be around that tree line, but that's kind of what I was looking for. Went just past that and hyzered a little bit right because there's a little bit more room on that right-hand side. So we'll try another one here. Okay, that one looks good too. That's a Venom. So it's a similar shot as that force. Yeah, that looks good. So we'll go up there, see how far I am, how close I am to the out of bounds, but that's kind of the shot I'm looking for. As you see, I used that crosswind. I threw, it's a little bit of a left to right. If it's the other wind and it's a right to left, then I might change my shot a little bit. But yeah, I just want to use that, work with the wind on a hole like this, especially when that right side is where you want to be and that wind's kind of helping you, pushing you over to that direction, which is the safe area. You know, I always want to work with the wind, especially where it's going to push me towards the inbounds area as opposed to away from it if I'm throwing a backhand. So yeah, just kind of using the wind to my advantage to wherever the landing zones are. All right, so here's my 2 drives, pretty much in the ideal landing zone, kind of right center of the fairway. We're left with kind of a low ceiling second shot, and there are a bunch of limbs that you can't really see, but I know that they're there, so I'm kind of trying to throw it, 5 feet off the ground, not much higher than that, because if I do, I'm risking hitting those limbs. And I do see that back tree. I'm trying to use that as a reference point, hyzer my forehand just in front of that. So try to hit that back tree with some nice line drive action on it. I'm not trying to throw it too high. That might be a little bit too straight. It's not going to hyzer in time, but we'll see. Okay, so I hit that tree, which is about 25 feet, 30 feet. So I'm going to try to throw this shot a little bit more to the right this time. There we go. That one's much better. Do a little bit more hyzer to the right. Should skip. Yep, that should be about 20. A little bit closer than that first one. So made the adjustment, as you can see, keeping it nice and low underneath those limbs, not giving it the chance to hit the limbs and drop at like 50 or 60 feet, giving myself inside the circle looks. We're walking up to the green here, and as I showed you, the second one made the adjustment. It's parked. The first one, I used this big tree as a reference point, and I hit it. So Not the worst spot ever, but you can be left with some weird lies and everything with this tree and this low-hanging limb. So there is a low-hanging limb that you guys can't quite see that I have to deal with, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So yeah, definitely very, very makeable putts from here. So yeah, this is a great reference point. As you can see, there are limbs that hang down a little bit low, and even when you go back a little bit further, there are some more limbs. So keeping it low, throwing that line drive, and just hyzering a little bit off of this big tree, taking myself somewhere in this 20 to 25 foot range, leaves me with the high percentage birdie look here, hole 4. All right, hole 5, we got 375 feet of forehand flex goodness. We got this tree on the right-hand side. Once again, you can kind of see the invisible limbs. Not really invisible, but I know they're there. So you kind of want to favor this left-hand side and get out into that gap or away from those limbs, because if you throw it too straight and throw it forward then flex, you're going to hit those. You kind of want to throw it left side fairway and flex just left, just right of these green, evergreen, or whatever these trees are. So I'm going to throw it with the Raptor, trying to favor this left-hand side so I don't hit those invisible limbs. Just like that. I like that a lot. Clipped them, but should come back. That is good. That might be a little bit shy. There's another bush up there, but I really like that line. I don't want to clip it, but I just want to be just left side. Yes, like that. That is ideal right there. That's exactly the shot that I'm looking for. That should be about 25, 30 feet left. That's kind of the play. As you see, there's lots of rough on this right-hand side, so if you saw off your flex shot a little bit early, you're gonna be in the crap. You wanna overturn it, if anything, and get out to that open space, because if you overturn it, you're at least having an open putt for birdie. If you hyzer out early, you're pretty much cooked. No chance for birdie, just scrambling for par. All right, so my first forehand did flex a little bit early. As you can see, I've got about, 10 feet of space that I need to clear distance-wise. So that just means putting a little bit more flex on it, which I did on the second one. So the second one, as you can see, got that little bit more flex on it. This hole is 375 feet, so it's a little bit far. I gotta throw, 80, 90% flex Captain Raptor shot. So as I told you, this open area to the left of the basket is kind of the play. You don't wanna be where my first one is, because you're kind of screwed on the putt. So this putt's always super windy, but it's definitely a good putt to practice. It's always windy from this area. Always seem to have a head crosswind, something like that. And yeah, it's always good to see how your putts are dropping and reacting. So that way, when I land here in the tournament, I can kind of have a reference point of how my putt's reacting in a similar wind to what we got right now. So yeah, hole 5, flex forehand, lay it up into this open area, give yourself that birdie look, and rely on the putting skills to get the bird. All right, hole 6, we got 777 feet, par 4, straight shot. You can see this cluster of trees. That's a great reference point if you're watching, if you're playing. That's kind of the indicator on this hole. You want to throw a shot just left of that. Some people do throw this wide hyzer. I don't like it, just for the simple fact that you're throwing over OB the entire way, to where if you miss the shot, there's not much room for error at all, and you're basically rethrowing 20 feet off the tee pad if you miss your shot right. So this one, I'm going to throw a nice straight beat up Captain Raptor that I can trust throwing at that tree, and I'm going to fade into the landing zone, which is just left of that tree. So I'm going to throw a shot with this clear Captain Raptor straight at that clump of trees and try to fade off of it. Pulled it. So I'm still safe from there, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm going to throw one more Raptor, try to hit the gap, hit the line here. There we go. That's much better. So that's going to hopefully just miss that tree. Yep, just like that. That's exactly what I want. It opens up on that left side. It looks like my disc kind of skipped into the crap, but there is an open cutout that we'll see when we walk up there. So I skipped hopefully into that open cutout. That'll leave me a good second shot in. I'm going to throw one more. I'm going to throw a less stable disc, maybe a buzz, on more of a hyzer, and throw kind of a glidey hyzer as opposed to a skipping hyzer with that Raptor. Just like that. I like that a lot. As long as it doesn't go too far left into the crap, I should be on the edge and give me a good second shot into the green. From the tee pad, you can't really see this cutout here, but both of my discs kind of hit this open cutout area. So you kind of use that tree as a reference point, and then also know that if you skip just left into this area, you're gonna have an open shot into the green. So got my buzz, landed a little bit straighter, so I'm gonna have a little bit better of an angle, whereas that Raptor is in a good spot, but I'm a little bit cut off on the angle. I almost have to go high over top of the trees to throw a shot into the basket. So I'm gonna throw one from here just in case this is a potential shot that I have to throw in the tournament. So I'm gonna go over the top. Hopefully it's not too, that should be good. Did it? Okay, cool. So parked it, I didn't know how that was gonna be. I'm gonna try one up the middle now. This one's just gonna be a little bit of a buzz shot. This is a buzz saw. Just keep it on hyzer and just throw a nice smooth hyzer down this gap here. It's a little bit early and short, so it's not gonna quite get to the basket, I don't think. Probably about a 30 footer from that one, so 40 footer. But yeah, you know, you can kind of see, use this cutout, use that tree as a reference point to hyzer just left of it, and takes you into this cutout area. Then you can kind of throw a second shot into the green. So yeah, if you land where my first Raptor landed on the left-hand side over there, it definitely forces you. These trees come into play on the left-hand side of the fairway, and it forces you to kind of throw over top, a little bit more aggressive. So if you're out of position, it forces you to kind of go over top of these trees and then hyzer into the green area. And if you hit early, obviously lots of trees on each side, that forces you to have to scramble and makes it a lot harder of a chance for that three. So yeah, got to throw the aggressive shots just in case we're out of position, which my Raptor worked out. I threw the wide hyzer, landed at 30 feet or so, and we're gonna take some putts from there. So we landed here with the aggressive shot over the top. I'm gonna change my putting style to a little bit of a spin putt and use that just because the angle change. I like to putt obviously high to low, which gives me a different nose angle. A nose down into a headwind doesn't work as well, so I gotta change my nose angle. And definitely, depending on the wind, I have to change my style of putting. So I like the spin putt when I got headwinds, and I actually like the nose down putt in the tailwind, because if I'm putting nose down, it actually wants to carry my putt, and my putt actually lifts into a tailwind because it's got a different nose angle than normal. And if I'm putting spin putt, it's gonna rise into a tailwind. And so yeah, I got different angles. I can utilize the wind, and I know exactly if my putt's gonna rise or drop based on what style of putt I'm using. All right, hole 7, we got 375 feet. It goes uphill to start, downhill towards the end by the basket. We got a OB on left and right side, and we got a lake on the back side of the green, and we got a raised basket. A lot of people like to throw the wide hyzer. I like to just throw a putter because it's a fast green, and I want to land it about 20 or 30 feet short and skip up to it. So I know where the basket's at because of that tree. I know the speed, and I'm trying to throw about a 320 foot shot because it says 375, but when you start going downhill, it starts shortening the hole. So 320 foot shot, I'm gonna throw the TI zone a little bit wide and play a little bit of a flex kind of hyzer. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. We'll just have to hope the distance is good on that. That looked really good. I like the speed, I like the line. Try one more. This zone flies pretty similar to that last one, so yeah, that's pretty much the exact same shot. So those two shots were pretty similar. So we're gonna get up there, see what the distance looks like, see where my disc's at, and then I'll be able to kind of tell how the ground play is, and if I'm throwing it too far, too short, what I need to change for the next round. All right, so it looks like we're getting up to my zone shots, and they're landing just left. So I need to change my aiming point to a little bit further right. The distance is great, and I think the angle and everything's great. I just need to throw a little bit harder. So next round, I'm gonna try to favor that right-hand side a little bit more and trickle into maybe a little bit closer. But once again, we're inside the circle, so it's not a horrible spot. Oh, it flopped out for 3 for 3. So yeah, TI zone. And as you can see, I kind of use these trees as the reference point, and you can see that's just on the right edge of the tree. So when I step up on this tee pad, I know exactly where the basket is, even though I can't see it visually from the tee pad. All right, hole 8, we got a par 4, 783 feet. We got a lot of variables on this hole. We have where you can see one of our Finnish friends. He is right next to the out of bounds on the right-hand side. So that is the pushing the line on the right-hand side. The tough part is you got a big old tree on the left-hand side, so it wants to push you towards the out of bounds. And I'm thinking I throw a shot almost over top of this tree just to kind of favor the left-hand side, and the fact that I have the distance, I can go far forward and then fade into the landing zone where I want to be. Because if I throw right and we have also a pushing wind over there, it's going to want to feel like a suction over towards that out of bounds. And if I throw it high enough, I can let the wind turn it into that open space, open area, and get more distance and make the upshot easier. All right, we're the first one. We are gonna go right side low, just right of this tree that sticks out on the left-hand side of the fairway. We're gonna go with my Z swirl force. Keep it on a hyzer because that wind's gonna wanna push it and push it to the right. So I'm gonna counter that by putting a little bit more hyzer on it. That should be a good spot. It's gonna hyzer left into that good sweet spot. That's a great spot to land right there. That's gonna be a nice, pretty routine forehand hyzer. I'm gonna throw a nuke, like I said, high over top of this tree, just to try and see if I can get a little bit more distance. Oh, that one just turned a little bit, but it's gonna be a smash. It's probably gonna be out of bounds long, it looks like. Holy cow, that thing went super far. Nukes always surprise me how far they go. That thing just turned and just carried forever. So the nuke with the crosswind is gonna go an absolute mile. Now I know. All right, so we're taking me to my drive. The first one went way OB long because the nukes go too far sometimes. But now we're gonna go to my fourth shot that was in the fairway. Throw a high shot, kind of just making sure to go around the tree. I'm gonna throw, normally distance-wise, it looks like I would wanna throw like a Raptor, but there's no reason not to err on the side of going long on this shot just because we have a headwind, we gotta throw it so high. So I'm gonna upgrade to a force just to make sure I get around those initial trees. So that should be ideal. We'll see how the distance is on that. Yeah, so I clipped a limb coming into the basket, but that seemed like a real good shot. Try one more. Just throw it kind of high and let the wind kind of take it. That one's gonna be too early. So as you can see, you gotta throw it super high. That one actually got up kind of up by the bucket and then got a roll. But yeah, this is a great spot to land. As you can see, you want to throw, it looks like you don't want to throw low because you're not going to get far enough to the right. You kind of want to throw high and let the wind kind of take it back to the basket. And yeah, when you're throwing that high into a headwind, it's going to slow your disc down. So it may only be 250, 300 feet, but if you're throwing that high and wide, it's going to play like a 400-foot shot. And that's why I'm throwing a force over a Raptor. My first one got caught up in the wind through the force, a little bit short. They actually moved this basket back. So the basket used to be like right there. So they moved it another, looks like 20, 30 feet back. So, drop. Ooh, so, gonna go with a spin putt on this one. Getting the spin putt dialed, boys. So we're gonna, spin putt's coming back. So we got the loft putt, we got the spin putt. It's gonna be a week full of made putts, no doubt. But yeah, it's a good hole for me. Power backhand, power forehand. Gives us a birdie putt and a spin putt we can make. All right, hole 9, we got 763 feet, par 4, flex shot over the top. You kind of want to carry it to the right and then fade back to the left. Is there OB up there now?
Yeah, way tighter.
All right, so it's way tighter this year. I'm going to throw a Z force, kind of throw it, ride it over top of the OB and kind of try to fade back to the left-hand side. Something just like that. Should be maybe OB, we'll see. So that's going to be close to pushing it. We'll see. Close. So that's a little bit left, but it's a little bit right side. I'm gonna try a little more stable disc. I like the line pretty much just, you know, maybe a foot or two of too much turn. So I'm gonna throw the same shot, just a little bit less flex on it. Or more flex on it. Throw it OB again. Throw one more. Raptor? You gotta get distance. Force, yeah. All right. I'll throw a Raptor for these guys. The fins tell me Raptor, so I'm going to try it. That's too far left. No? Yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah, you're right. I guess I'm throwing Raptor. Yes, they told me what's up. Thanks for caddying.
Pay my money $50 now.
Yeah. 500? You greedy, man. What the heck? I know the euro, is it stronger than the dollar or what? Trying to get greedy on me. You've been cashing in the last couple tournaments. You don't need the money. I'm just kidding, I know. All right, I listened to the fins and threw the Raptor, landed on this left-hand side fairway, which is kind of the spot you want if you're throwing a forehand. Because if you're right, it adds a little bit weird of an angle. But if you're a little bit left center, kind of opens up the angle here. Got about 300, 320. I'm gonna go with the Raptor and see how that distance looks into the green. I like the look of it. Yeah, that's a little bit short. I'm gonna try a little bit more glidey of a Raptor so I can get a little bit more distance on it. But That's a little bit low. It might not skip if it's a long grass up there. Actually, yeah, looks like it skipped just at circle's edge. So yeah, could go raptor, could go force raptor on the second shot, but just depends on how much distance I get off the tee. All right, so through the raptor on the second shot left me a little bit short, a little uphill 35 footer. So yeah, definitely want to make the adjustment, throw it a little bit harder, or just throw a faster disc. One of the two. So putt's feeling good. We got the birdie looks we're needing with the raptor shots on the drive and the second shot. So yeah, gonna get some birdies on hole 9. All right, so finishes the front 9 here at Mill Ridge. Just got a couple birdies, and thanks for watching the front 9. Let's head over to the back 9, see how this course finishes out. Thank you guys.